Hello, everyone. Welcome to the spring 2018 semester, and this is English 21-22, which is British Literature 2. So, to give you an idea of what we're going to be reading and discussing during this semester, we are going to pick up British literature, which is anything from England, Scotland, Ireland, and eventually from any of the British territories from all around the world, and we are going to look at them starting with what's known as the Romantic period, which is around 1795, 1796, all the way up through the 20th century. And so we're going to be covering a lot of ground and a lot of authors. This is a survey class, so by that fact, it means that we're probably not going to go too in-depth on any one author, but you have a chance to do that with your writings as we go through the semester. All right, so one thing I want you to do is I want you to explore our website. Explore the whole page. I have got resources throughout. I've got every week is in its own weekly module. I have a module with a syllabus and a schedule, and that's very important. You need to look through that. I have a module with, say, grammar. I have a module with MLA formatting. It is updated to the 8th edition. I have several other modules throughout that I think you're going to find useful as you go through the semester. So I would, if I were you, go ahead and take this week and go through that and explore around a little bit and see what's available. I do want you to take a close look at the syllabus. It's in the syllabus module. The schedule is also in there. The syllabus itself is about 3 pages, and then the schedule is about 7 pages because it covers 15 weeks. So what you're going to notice is that the CRN is on here. You're going to notice my name, my email address. I don't really have a phone number, but I'll tell you what's the best way to reach me is to use the email in the D2L or the web page that you're on now. Use that email address. I will usually respond within a day or so. I like to check it every single day. It could be in the afternoon, it could be in the evening, but I will respond as quickly as I can in order to answer any questions you may have. The attendance policy, if you're actually on here, you're not going to be reported as a no-show as long as you're doing the work for the next 2 weeks. So no-show. Makeup work is very important. Look at that. I'm pretty strict on making sure that you do your work on time. In fact, quizzes will always shut down on the stroke of midnight of the next day. So if a quiz is due on, say, this one that's coming up is due next Sunday, when it changes from Sunday to Monday next week at the stroke of midnight, that quiz will shut down. So you're going to need to make sure that you stay on top of it. I do makeups on a case-by-case basis if you can convince me that you had a good reason for missing. Sometimes you just can't do the work in a particular week. Don't try to get in the habit of doing that for all 15 weeks, but let's say we get to week 7 or 8 and you've done all your work on time and all of a sudden something came up and you couldn't do the work. There's a pretty good chance I'll go ahead and let you make it up. So, but don't ask me to let you make up 6 weeks worth of work just because you haven't been doing it. The plagiarism policy is also something that I want you to take a close look at in the syllabus. I am very strict on plagiarism. I don't tolerate it. If you copy and you try to take credit for the work as your own, you will end up getting a 0 on that assignment. So make sure that if you use somebody else's work, you give them proper credit. If you give them proper credit, you've not plagiarized. How do you do that? Well, the MLA folder has ways to cite. You will be citing the works that you write, by the way, throughout this semester. So you'll need to cite those properly and format the quotes properly because part of your grade will depend on that. And then the extra credit opportunities, I close this syllabus out with that because all too often in the final week of the semester, I get a student writing me back saying, look, I know I haven't done anything for 9 weeks. What can I do to make up for it? What kind of extra credit can I get to pass your course this semester? Because I need this course to graduate. Well, my answer will always be there is no extra credit opportunity, and you're going to still get penalized for the late work. The time to worry about your grade is this week, not the week of April the 25th, let's say. So make sure that you stay on top of your work. If you stay on top of it, you won't fall behind, and it won't be that difficult. I try not to give you too much work, but I do, since this is a 2000 level class, I try to make sure that the work is rigorous a little bit. So look at the schedule. The schedule has all the due dates and all the due times on it. What I want you to know for this first week and this is important, you don't need the textbook for this first week. What you need to do is go into the week one and look through that slideshow. Use the internet. Look up information on, say, the War of the Roses, or look up information on the Magna Carta. Look up information on all these things that you're going to see on that slideshow. And then you'll take the weekly quiz. You won't write a paper this week, and we'll talk about those papers next week, because I want this to be a short introduction. But take a look at all of the slides, get the information, and then go take the quiz. And I think it's somewhere around 20 questions. Answer all the questions, because even though this is British literature too, it helps to know a little bit about British history in order to understand, especially these early authors that we're going to read, like Mary Wollstonecraft, Thomas Paine, Edmund Burke, and so on and so forth. It helps to understand the history of England, to understand what the people are writing about at the time that they're writing. So take that quiz, get to know a little bit of British history. I know it's not a history class, but those historical moments, especially things like the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Right, what they call the Interregnum, which means between kings, which lasted about 11 years. All of these things are going to factor very early on in this semester in what Mary Wollstonecraft, Edmund Burke, Thomas Paine, and other authors are talking about. So that's all you got to do this week. You don't need your textbook yet, although I would recommend you get it. There's the ISBN number there, so if you order by the ISBN number, if you don't go to the bookstore should have it on both campuses. I place orders for both campuses. But if the bookstore doesn't have it, that ISBN number will help you with Amazon, or it will help you with textbooks.com, or wherever it is you go, to make sure you get the right book so that the page numbers line up in the syllabus. Also, you want the textbook because, instead of trying to find this stuff on the internet, because some of these things, like when we get to Wollstonecraft, when we get to some of these other authors, for example, William Wordsworth next week even, you're only going to be reading portions of some of their works. So if you get the whole work, you don't know what to read. So if you get the textbooks, you get the actual portion that we're going to be talking about in class. So that's about all I've got for now. I think this is going to be a fun semester. This is my favorite class to teach. When I went part-time at ASU, I used to teach full-time, and I taught everything from 1101 to 999 all the way up to 1102 in British Lit. When I went part-time, the only thing I wanted to teach was British Lit. And I've told people that if I could only teach one college class, it would be anything having to do with British literature. So I enjoy this stuff. I'm hoping that I can make it fun for you. I'm hoping you'll enjoy it too. And let's have fun this semester. Let's have ourselves a good semester, and let's get started.